video is sponsored by Kush Online, your home for cute, comfortable, curvy wear. Kush takes the stress out of getting dressed. This video is sponsored by Kush. Hey guys, welcome to my channel and welcome to another video. If you're new here, welcome. And if you've been here before, welcome back. This is our first video for JustMeCMB CrimeTube. We do have a new channel that will explicitly have all of our true crime type of content on it. I will give you more information on that here shortly. As a matter of fact, I'm going to show you the channel. I'm going to pull it up here. If you're watching this video in the replay, thanks and welcome. And if you've been here before and you are back, thanks and welcome again. Let me pull up the crime channel real quick. Maybe I put it in wrong. Hold on. So today in this video, while I'm pulling this up, I'll go ahead and give you guys an idea. We're going to be talking about the couple who gave birth to their child, and during the birth process, something unfortunately happened, and because of that, the baby is no longer with us. So with that being the case, we are going to just go over and do a little commentary in reference to the initial things that have been posted this week about this story and the updates that have been posted about the story. So like I said, my true crime channel will be CrimeTube with Mish. And I'm trying to pull it up here. I have not officially put anything out on the channel. This is the channel here. So I hope you guys will take some time when you get a chance and follow our channel over there. But we're going to go ahead and get prepared to cover this story. Like I said, we're going to cover the updates that have had about this story. Now, if you don't know anything about it, like I said, there was a situation to where the young lady gave birth. There was an issue. The baby was coming down the canal. His shoulders got stuck. He was unable to get out. So they did whatever was necessary to try to complete the birthing process. In the midst of that, the doctor put too much. He put too much aggression on the baby, and because of this, it did fracture him at his neck. And unfortunately, once he was born, he was no longer alive. And the sad part about it is they did not get to see their baby even at birth, and had to actually wait until, I don't even know if they've actually seen the baby because of the condition of the baby. The doctor tried to cover it up. They immediately removed the baby from the room and sent the baby to the funeral home. And once the baby got there, the funeral home did reach out saying, "Hey, did you know blah blah blah," which basically was that the baby's neck was disconnected, and that is so. Um, the first video I'm gonna play right here was one where they did make a statement. One moment, I'm gonna make sure I am on the right tab.
Life where you feel like you're hanging on by a thread, to go and speak with a therapist. As a licensed therapist, I often hear people think that therapy is reserved.
And thank you so much for joining.
Okay, this is the first video. I'm going to play a couple of videos talking about what's going on. And then at the end, I'm going to play the press conference. They did also litigate them, not criminally, but they sued them. So that's something else that's also going on. So here we go.
Us this afternoon, I'm Jonathan Martin. First, here at noon, for the first time, we are hearing from parents who say their baby was decapitated during birth. This happened last July at Southern Regional Medical Center, and yesterday, the Clayton County Medical Examiner ruled the baby's death a homicide. A lawsuit by Jessica Ross and her boyfriend, Trevion Isaiah Taylor, says that the doctor applied excessive force on the baby's head and neck to try and deliver it. Well, the family's attorney says the most concerning part about all of this was the alleged efforts to cover up the death.
What happened? Why was there not an alert put out all throughout the hospital to say we have a shoulder dystocia so that new eyes could come in and look? Why weren't the proper procedures done in terms of maneuvers and the like?
We just want justice for our son. They lied to us. They ain't let us touch him. We don't like it. We just want justice for our son.
And at this time, there's no word on whether charges will be filed against anyone in light of the news of the death being a homicide. We, of course, will have more details on the case this afternoon and later in this newscast as well.
Happening today, the family of a...
Okay, so that's the first video. It is sad that they covered it up. It is sad how they handled it. The whole situation was very, it was piss poor. It was unethical. And it was, I guess, borderline criminal. I say borderline just because obviously there was no intent to harm. However, he should have known that he was over his head in that situation. And even if they had to go and rush her in and do a C-section, her safety and her baby's safety should have been their primary concern. And it does not seem as though they paid that any attention. So because of that, I mean, that's just unfortunate. It just really is. So anyway, yeah, that was the first video. So let me play this one. I'm playing it from another channel, so I don't know if it's going to be the exact.
Here's what I eat in a day to stay full and energized. I start my morning off with a high-protein bagel with a superfood smoothie and add an egg on top for a protein.
We're going to begin with that very disturbing story about a baby decapitated. You'll remember the family filed a lawsuit. Now there are new developments. The Clayton County Medical Examiner's Office says the baby's death is now ruled a homicide. Investigative reporter Ashley Lincoln is live in the newsroom. Ashley, you've been following the story from the very beginning. So what do these new developments mean now?
Well, Karen, a lot of rolling developments with this case. I spoke with the Clayton County Medical Examiner this afternoon, and he says they will now hand over their findings to Clayton County Police, who are currently investigating. Now, back in August, the parents of the newborn filed a lawsuit against Southern Regional Center and their OBGYN, Dr. Tracy St. Julian. Now, the couple accused both the doctor and the hospital for covering up the decapitation. A funeral home employee discovered the newborn was decapitated after the baby was transported from the hospital. Clayton County Medical Examiner Brian Bayer spoke to us last year, telling us there are multiple local and state investigations into this case.
This is crazy, that they were able to do that. It was crazy the fact that this mother and father, even with what happened, was not able to see the baby right away. Um, and I just don't understand how that was able to be done. And then they completely took the baby from the hospital and sent him to the funeral home. And nobody in the family had saw the baby. They didn't get to hold the baby, anything. And that's kind of common practice, even if something happens. And where is these? They are young. I think they're like 22, 23. Where are they mama and daddy at? Somebody should have been able to speak for them in a way that made something happen. Somebody should have been able to see that child. And I just don't understand how they were able to cover it up the way that they did.
There's just a lot of people out there trying to get to the bottom of this, and everybody works independently. Everybody's agnostic to each other's investigation, although we will try to share each other's facts with each other. But I think that the public should feel very secure that the truth will come out, whatever that might be, when it's all said and done.
And we do know the Clayton County Police Department is currently investigating. I've been in contact with their PIO in the last 30 minutes regarding the status of their investigation. We're waiting to hear back. Of course, this is a story that we will continue to follow. Reporting live in the newsroom, Ashley Lincoln, Channel 2 Action News.
We have more details now. The baby's parents, Jessica Ross and Trevion Isaiah Taylor, also filed a lawsuit against independent pathologist Dr. Jackson Gates in September. The couple hired Dr. Gates for an independent autopsy after the funeral home discovered their newborn was decapitated. The family learned that Dr. Gates posted photos of their decapitated son on his Instagram page. Dr. Gates told investigative reporter Ashley Lincoln that he published the images for educational purposes only.
And we are staying on breaking news right now. Clayton County Sheriff's deputies are searching for an inmate.
Wow. How does he justify putting that information out there?
Filed a lawsuit against independent pathologist Dr. Jackson Gates in September. The couple hired Dr. Gates for an autopsy after the funeral home discovered their newborn was decapitated. Family learned that
Dr. J. Gates. I'm gonna go look over here to see what I see. Like, why is he posting? And he's saying for educational purposes, but what was he teaching him? Dr. J. Boy, he posts a lot of stuff on this thing. Oh my. Oh my. He does have some very exposing pictures there on his page. I just went and checked that out. And I'm shocked. Yeah, I didn't. Wow, that's all I can say. Okay, let's move on to the next video. I played that one. I played that one. Let's play this one.
Do you think you'd be happier as a boy?
Happening today, the family of a Georgia baby decapitated during childbirth will talk about their loss and what they plan to do next. That newborn's death has been ruled as a homicide. Good day, Atlanta's Caitlin Pratt live outside the Southern Regional Medical Center with the latest information. Caitlin, good morning.
I just hope this baby, in the midst of all of this, didn't feel anything. Gosh. And I can only imagine, if they had a hard time getting the baby out, that means that she may have felt something. Like it may have been a painful experience for her unless she had an epidural. Like, wow. That's all I can say.
Such an upsetting story. Good morning to you. Yes, this is about a half hour south of the city of Atlanta here in Clayton County. And this terrible incident happened, according to investigators, back in July. And since then, medical examiner investigators have been looking over multiple autopsies, talking with experts, and ruled this week that the little baby's death is a homicide.
Now, saying that it is a homicide, but they're not saying that the doctor will be charged. I mean, if it was ruled a homicide and we know who the offender was, how could they not be charged is my question.
30-something years. This was the first time I had ever heard of anything like that even happening.
It's one couple's story of loss that has shocked so many. Jessica Ross and Travion Taylor's son decapitated during birth at a Clayton County hospital in July.
Anybody who dies at the hands of another, that's the definition of a homicide.
A death certificate filed by the Clayton County Medical Examiner this week now classifying the baby's death as a homicide. Since the incident, ME investigator Betty Honey says interviews with multiple experts and several autopsies led them to that conclusion.
We actually consulted with a medical examiner. We've actually consulted with several people before we come up with, determine what the cause and manner of death is going to be.
In the delivery room, Ross and Taylor learned their baby did not survive the delivery and later learned he had been decapitated from the funeral home. When the couple asked to see and hold their child, they claim the baby was wrapped in a blanket with his head, quote, propped on top of his body to conceal the decapitation. A lawsuit accuses hospital staff of pulling on the baby's head so hard the bones in his neck were broken. According to the complaint filed in August, healthcare providers at Regional Medical Center engaged in a, quote, persistent pattern of lies and deception to try and hide the facts surrounding the baby's death from parents. It's now up to the district attorney to decide whether criminal charges are appropriate. And that police investigation here in Clayton County is ongoing. And as I mentioned, whether there'll be criminal charges or not, that remains to be seen. We'll, of course, keep you updated on that. As for the Southern Regional Medical Center, after this incident in July, they did release a statement saying that the infant's death occurred in utero, also mentioning the doctor who delivered that infant. Dr. Tracy St. Julian is not and has never been an employee at the hospital. That family set to speak in just a few hours and talk about their next step from here. It's the latest in Clayton County. I'm Caitlin Pratt. I'm going to send it back to you.
Okay, they're saying that the doctor is not an employee, but that doesn't mean that doctor does not have the ability to practice there. So it doesn't matter if the doctor is an employee or not. He still was able to, or she or whomever was able to practice there and was able to deliver. My question is, was this the doctor that she saw the whole 9 months, or is this someone who just was there because her doctor was gone and whatever? So that's my $1 million question. But it really don't matter if that person was an employee because the situation still occurred.
Caitlin, very detailed report there, but my goodness, getting chills hearing that. Childbirth supposed to be a beautiful moment, bringing a life into the world, and now this family learning that the hospital was primarily responsible for their baby being decapitated. I know you said there is a lawsuit underway. I wanted to ask you really quickly, is this the first time something has happened from this hospital, or is there a pattern that you're finding out?
We haven't been privy to any sort of pattern, so to speak. And as you heard that medical examiner in that piece there, this is the first time she's heard of anything like this happening in 30 years, her entire career. So really shocking, of course, not to just this community, but also making national headlines as well. When we first learned about this lawsuit back in the summertime, parents weren't physically able to speak mentally. They were just so anguished. Today, we're hoping to get a better feel for how they've been coping with all of this and what their next steps are, for sure.
Caitlin Pratt joining us with Fox 5 Atlanta. Caitlin, again, very detailed report. Thank you for joining us this morning here on Live Now from Fox. I'm very interested to hear what the family has to say as they are holding on to bravery during this difficult time. Caitlin, you enjoy the rest of your day.
Today we're going to talk about what melatonin is and why you should.
Okay, so I can only imagine. I can't imagine how that little girl feels. And I say little girl just because she's younger than me, but I just, I just, my heart goes out to them. And then I don't know how I feel with this. What could that doctor be trying to teach anybody to go and do what he did as far as putting the picture on social media? Like, for what? And what did that do? What are you teaching? Like, I don't get it. I really don't. I don't understand what I'm just flummoxed. I'm so shocked that I'm almost speechless because I don't see what he felt he could teach by doing what he did. So I don't know. But here is the last piece that I wanted to show you guys. This is the their attorney. Let me go ahead and put it back up here. That young lady looks almost, oh gosh, my heart goes out to them.
Inform the public that consistent with our initial complaint that was filed back in August of 2023, it was neck trauma, namely a fracture of the bones in the neck and damage to baby Travion Taylor Jr.'s spinal cord that causes death, and not any other complications associated with shoulder dystocia. We did this again 6 months ago. I told you all what shoulder dystocia was. Shoulder dystocia just means when a baby's coming down the birth canal, the bones basically get stuck in the pelvis. It is a phenomenon that occurs. This is not extremely rare. Every qualified, board-certified obstetrician and gynecologist should know how to deal with it. And so that's what a shoulder dystocia is. For background purposes, for people who weren't here 6 months ago, Miss Ross was full term on July the 9th, 2023. She was 37 weeks pregnant, and when she went into Southern Regional Medical Center, she went in with the full expectation of having a healthy baby when she was discharged. However, tragically, during her delivery, the baby was decapitated. The baby was decapitated for sure as a result of a complication from the shoulder dystocia. But the standards of care are very, very simple. When there's a shoulder dystocia, there's certain tried and true things that must be done, positions that must be assumed by the patient herself with the assistance of the nurses, things that must be done by the nurses, putting fundal pressure, things of that sort. There should be an alert that's made to all people in the hospital so that other people can come and get fresh eyes on the situation and give this baby the best chance of coming into this world full, whole, and healthy. And our complaint is very clear that we allege that this was not done. The cause of the death again was the baby's neck was broken while Dr. St. Julian was applying excessive traction on the baby's neck in the face of the shoulder dystocia. This is something that is clearly contraindicated. No credible, no reasonably competent obstetrician should ever do this. You're supposed to do maneuvers and different maneuvers in order to basically get the baby out. And if in fact that doesn't work, then you go to a C-section. Unfortunately, as you all recall, right after we filed the suit back in August of 2023, representatives from Southern Regional Medical Center, they came out with a statement saying that the baby was dead before the decapitation, really implying that it was complications of the shoulder dystocia that killed the baby and not excessive traction and trauma to the neck. The Clayton County Medical Examiner's determination, when they put out that press release a couple of days ago, completely gouges that defense. What they did is that they determined that the cause of death was homicide. And I want to be real semantic in this capacity. Homicide in this context means that the baby's death was due to the hands of another human being. Please don't confuse this with criminal homicide, which is basically based upon a statute in Georgia law, OCG. There's a statute in Georgia law that deals with homicide, and it's a completely different definition. But what you saw in their press release is that they determined
therapy for me came at a time that was really pivotal. Becoming a new father, I needed more.
That it was a fracture and dislocation with a complete transection of the upper cervical 1 and cervical 2 spine and the spinal cord that caused the death. I'm not getting into the medical part of it at all, but C1 is the first cervical vertebra in your spine. C2 is the second one. And so there was a disconnection or break in those two, and that was the cause of death. What is really important for the public to understand is that, this determination done by the Clayton County Medical Examiners was done very judiciously and deliberately and objectively. They went and got the input of an OBGYN expert, an independent OBGYN expert who was out of state, who has done over 10,000 labor deliveries. And then they also doubled down on that and got an independent expert who was from Georgia, who has delivered over 9,000 labor deliveries. They sent these experts the medical records, and they also basically sent the information to an independent private forensic pathologist. And after basically gleaning all of the information from these experts, their determination death was a homicide. And practically speaking, what that means again is that contrary to what Southern Regional Medical put out there, that the baby died from complications of the shoulder dystocia before the decapitation, when they put him back, when they took her back to the operating room, they came and determined independently that the cause of death was trauma to the neck. The neck was broken and the baby died. And then whether or not the baby was alive when they went back and did the C-section, we don't know, because, quite frankly, Southern Regional has not been very cooperative thus far in terms of discovery. We have not taken one deposition in this case, not because we haven't asked, but because there's been pushback by the defense. I will say this, we did have a conversation with the defense within the last week, and I think we've cleared this stuff up, and we're going to be.
This is crazy. If a hospital will go to this length to try to hide things from the public, why on earth are you okay to conduct this service? I mean, to have them, why would you go to them? I can't even get it out right. Like, I'm just, why? Why would trust your care in a hospital who would do something so blatantly criminal. They took information from a doctor and they put out a statement that was completely false. And the thing is, as fast as they say that the baby went to the funeral home, I mean, did they not think? I mean, they didn't even put a lot of emphasis in trying to find out what happened. They just put all the emphasis in trying to cover up what they did.
Be able to briskly get through the requisite depositions that we need to really find out what happened. We're going to depose everybody who was in the room, all the nurses, all the scrub techs, everybody, to find out essentially what the hell happened. What happened? Why was there not an alert put out all throughout the hospital to say we have a shoulder dystocia so that new eyes could come in and look? You know, why weren't the proper procedures done in terms of maneuvers and the like?
Every hospital has a standard of operating procedure and minimal care that's required in every situation. So that's what he's talking about. For example, if you are pregnant and you one of the in your baby's sac ruptures, there's certain procedures written that have to happen in that. Any instance of anything that happens in a hospital, there is a procedure, and that's what he keeps repeating. Apparently, the procedure is that you put out that this is going on, that a new doctor comes in to try to assist if need be. You are not supposed to put added pressure on the child's neck. And if you, with whatever maneuvers, cannot get the baby to come out, you take her into C-section and then you deliver the baby that way. That is apparently what he's trying to say.
So that's what we're going to do. Again, I really want to just say that in terms of the term homicide, everybody watches TV and homicide is always associated with a crime. I've practiced medicine for 12 years. I've been doing this, basically holding hospitals and doctors accountable for negligence for 20. And I've never seen a circumstance where there's been any kind of criminal allegation made against a doctor. And again, that determination is not something within our purview. We have nothing to do with that. That's all under the jurisdiction of the Clayton County Police Department and possibly the Georgia Bureau of Investigation. So we're out of that. We have nothing to do with that. But I just want you to know that there is a distinction. The homicide that is used in this particular term is basically the death was due to the hands of another person. This case, again, we're just talking about the medicine now. But as you all remember, in my opinion, the most offensive aspect of this case deals with the lies and the cover-up that occurred after the decapitation. The fact that Dr. St. Julian came in just an hour or so after the delivery of the baby and failed to tell this couple the details and the specifics of what happened, that the baby had been decapitated. That was not done. That was a lie and a cover-up. Lies and cover-ups, again,
Jolie shower. Stop spending money on all that skin and hair care if you're not going to address the root of the.
She looks so sad.
The hospital staff there at Southern Regional Medical Center were trying to encourage this young couple to get the baby cremated in an effort to destroy evidence. They lied to the couple and told them that they were not amenable. A free autopsy paid for by Clayton County was not available to them. They did that, in my opinion, in order to force them into getting the cremation. Again, a lie and a cover-up, trying to destroy evidence. And then this is the most...
That is crazy. Honestly, in a situation like that, although there was no intent to do harm, the fact that they conducted themselves in such a way, again, that's crazy.
Egregious part of it, again, when this couple were there, and notice, I've dealt with dozens and dozens of cases of fetal death and fetal demise. It is normal, natural, proper, and right for parents after the baby is deceased to say, I want to see my baby. I want to hold my baby. I want to touch the baby's fingers before we put the baby away. And they wanted that also. The staff at Southern Regional Medical Center they lied to them and said, you cannot hold your baby, you cannot touch your baby. And when they did not,
I just can't imagine that. So you just went through all of that to have a child, and they tell you that you can't see the baby? Like, what?
accept that. When they didn't accept it, they persisted. Then Southern Regional Medical Center, they capitulated a little bit. They said, okay, you can look at your child through a glass window, and they wrapped the baby tightly in a blanket, propped the baby's head up on the body, and set the baby up through a glass window, basically making it look like there was no decapitation. Once again, just defrauding and lying to this young couple.
That is crazy. I don't understand how this hospital is still in operation.
So that's what this case is about.
I wouldn't go there for my fingernail to be fixed.
Again, the significance of the Clayton County Medical Examiner's report is that consistent with what we've said from the beginning, the cause of the death was due to the trauma and the neck being broken, and not from any other complications from the shoulder dystocia. So those are my comments dealing with the medicine. At this point, I'm going to turn it over to co-counsel in this case, Attorney Corey Lynch, who's going to basically talk about other issues, and then you're going to hear from the clients.
Good morning. There was also a statement made by Southern Regional Medical Center after we filed the lawsuit that they did, in fact, report this to the proper authorities. The medical examiner's report shows that that is also not true. This incident was reported to the medical examiner's office and to the authorities around the morning of July 13th, and it was reported to the medical examiner's office by Willie Watkins Funeral Home in Riverdale, Georgia. And we would like to thank them for doing so, because this is a situation that, as Dr. Edmond just stated, that they really tried to cover up and tried to destroy the evidence of, so that they could avoid being held accountable for their actions. I would also like to thank the Clayton County Medical Examiner's Office for their thorough report and for taking the time to get these findings right. Jessica and Trevion are here. They've been through a lot. As you know, the last press conference we had, they were too distraught to be here and to speak. They are here now, and I want to open the floor to them if they want to say something.
We just want justice for our son. They lied to us. They ain't let us touch him. We don't like it. We just want justice for our son.
That poor young lady. It's obvious that she's still in an emotional position that she can't even talk. It's sad. It is sad. And honestly, I want to cover this case because I want to find out what happens to this doctor. It should not be okay in 2024 that people conduct themselves like this, that a mother is treated like this. It's hard enough. They were single parents. This was her first child. She went through all of that. And not only was her child not able to be taken home, but how her child was taken from her was criminal, in my opinion. It just should not have been able to be conducted in that manner. And because of that, those people need to pay the price, whatever that means in this type of system. Let me go ahead and put them back on the screen. There's only a few more minutes left.
You want to say something, babe? If you're done. Okay. All right. Well, do you all have any questions at all?
What was your reaction, what was the family's reaction when the report came out from the medical examiner basically proving what you guys been saying since the lawsuit were filed in August?
I mean, it was not unexpected on our part. I mean, I reviewed the records and it was clear that what caused the baby's death was the trauma to the neck, the doctor pulling on the neck and essentially breaking the neck. So this is completely consistent with what it is we knew prior to even filing the case. It's tragic, horrific, but sadly, this is the kind of evidence that you need in order to basically prevail in these kind of cases.
As a doctor, what is your reaction to the fact that Dr. St. Julian's license is still active today and she still has privileges at that hospital?
I really have no comment on that whatsoever. I mean, once again, we're still in the early stages of discovery. Not by virtue of our lack of effort. We have not taken one deposition in this case. What I need to know is what the hell happened. There were multiple people in the room, nurses, scrub techs, labor, assistants and the like. And believe me, once we put them under oath and ask them what happened, we'll know. And so I don't have anything extra to add in pointing the finger at Dr. St. Julian, other than obviously she put too much traction on the baby's neck. And then and to answer your question about the fact that she's still practicing, I mean, again, I'm not an expert in terms of who's qualified to practice medicine.
How not? Or should I say how, Sway? She yanked this baby's neck. I mean, why did she even want to practice? Like, I don't know. Oh my God. There should have been some type of continuing education, something in reference to the situation. And then the fact of the cover up and the lie, even if it's just for that reason, her license should definitely be on hold.
They've been doing this at the Georgia Composite Board of Medical Examiners for 100 years, so I trust them in their decisions.
We know that you guys are taking civil action against the hospital and the doctor. This is now turned into a criminal case, and the case has been handed to the DA's office. What would the family want to say to the district attorney when considering criminal charges possibly being filed in this case?
I want to correct you. This has not been turned over to the DA's office.
Clayton County Police told us that they've completed their investigation. They told us this last night, that they've handed the case to the district attorney's office.
Again, what I want to say very, very clearly is that all of that is in their hands. We are civil litigation attorneys. What it is that the judicial system does with these facts, that's up to them. I said it very early on. Again, I practiced medicine for 12 years. I've never seen a circumstance where there has been criminalized by a doctor grossly negligent. This doctor was grossly negligent. Whether or not it rises to the level of crime, again, way beyond my purview, way beyond my pay grade.
Hey, move, you're in my spot.
Hey, I can't get the TV. It's too loud.
Is there an update on the second lawsuit about the person that posted these pictures?
Sure. Yeah, we filed suit against the pathologist. I think his name was Dr. Jackson Gates. Come on, you handle it.
Well, we filed suit against Dr. Gates. To date, he has not answered that lawsuit. So he is basically in default. We filed a default motion.
Right. We filed a motion for default judgment in the case because of Dr. Gates' failure to answer the complaint or respond to the discovery. We've been unable to determine whether the court has granted that motion. Obviously, most of you know the Fulton County civil case system is down, so I can't locate and determine whether the court has granted that motion. But we're confident that we'll prevail on that.
It's been nearly 7 months since Jessica went into labor at this point, and just now starting to get these answers that you all have claimed since the lawsuit was filed in August. Can you speak to that trauma that she's endured? I mean, I know it's clear from just seeing her, but...
It's been tough. It's been tough on the whole family. They have been strong and resilient with trying to move forward with life and get back to not normal, but a new normal, given the grief that they have sustained. It's been tough. We are in close contact with them just to kind of lift their spirits up and to see how they're doing. We've also, they have actually sought out counseling as well for the grief of this, but it's been a lot, as you can see and as you can probably imagine.
I know you all are focused on civil aspects of this case, but is there a family representative, perhaps, or one of you could address if the family does believe that criminal charges should be filed in relation to this case?
I can say that the family deeply and fervently trust the judicial system. And so, again, they don't have an opinion one way or another. They're still stuck in grief. They've lost their child. And, you know, are they sitting back waiting for charges to be pressed against the doctor? The answer is no. They're focused on healing and recovery.
But was this hospital the hospital they usually went to for their monthly checkups, or their usually checkups during the pregnancy, or was this something that as soon as they went into they decided to go to this hospital?
Yeah. I mean, just like situations in the United States, you have private practices. That's where she got her primary obstetrical care, and these physicians affiliated with these private practices, they have admitting privileges and delivery privileges at a hospital. So there was nothing unusual. It wasn't like she just popped up on their doorstep, you know, full-term pregnant. No, she was scheduled to be delivered at Southern Regional, having been followed by physicians who are on staff at Southern Regional Medical.
What is the most damning piece of evidence that you think you have in this case that you hope will help you prevail in this lawsuit? Is it this latest findings by the Clay County Examiner's Office, Medical Examiner's Office, or is it, I've heard of a video that was taken there by family members during the delivery process. Do you think that would be the most compelling?
You know what, there is no most compelling. It's all really jacked up. Every aspect of the evidence that shows what happened is traumatizing. It's something I've never seen in my life. From the medical records, and there is a video that we've basically given to the defense, which shows the excessive traction. And I'll say this, you know, just how the situation was dealt with afterwards is bizarre. I mean, it is diabolical in my mind that after this woman has lost her child, that they weren't candid with her about what happened, that they tried to basically force her to get the baby cremated to basically spoil evidence, that they lied to them saying you can't get a free autopsy at the expense of Clayton County. Now, all of that is bizarre. It is bizarre, and honestly, so I am going to answer your question. The most shocking thing is what happened after the baby was dead.
But I just want to, you were referencing this in your initial statement, but from the hospital statement, you know, it said the death occurred in utero prior to the delivery and decapitation.
I'm going to say this, literally, that's possible. We don't know. Again, we haven't even taken a deposition. It's possible that the baby was being delivered, and again, the baby's viable. Heart rate is fine and everything, the shoulder to social is there, and then Dr. St. Julian broke the baby's neck and killed the baby. That's possible. And then when they went and did the C-section, the baby was dead, and then the head came off when they pulled the baby out. What's important for you all to understand is that the medical examiner's office said that the baby was killed by the neck trauma, by the doctor breaking the neck. So whether that happened while they were in labor and delivery, or while the baby was in the operating room, the cause of the death was breaking the baby's neck and spinal cord. That's the take-home message.
Mr. Taylor said he wants justice for his son. What would justice look like?
Oh, wow. Good.
That's tough. You know, they are distraught. I think they want any and every measure of justice that is available to them. You know, we're not necessarily pushing for prosecution of anyone, but if Clayton County Police Department, Clayton County DA's office makes that determination, then so be it. Our hands are out of that, and we are laser focused on getting them justice through the civil process.
Hey, look, once again, like 6 months ago, we appreciate y'all's attention to this story. It is bizarre. You all have been covering this for a long time. You've never seen anything like this, and sadly, it is true. All right, I wish we weren't here, but we are. And you know, stay tuned. We're going to take some depositions. In this case, will resolve in some capacity, hopefully within the next year or two. Okay.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
All right.
You could build this, or even this.
Okay, guys, so that's the end of the last video that I wanted to play for you guys. I wanted us to cover this. I wanted us to talk about this. And he is right. This is bizarre. This is, I don't even understand how this could happen. And I just feel for that young lady who had to go through this and witness this, who had to be told lies. I mean, you know, I haven't had a situation that is this traumatic, but I went through a traumatic situation. But even with that and how helpless we felt dealing with that, it was nowhere near as complicated and as dishonest and immoral as their situation. Like the entire everybody worked together to hide this situation from her, and that is just bizarre. Guys, tell me what you think. This is a lot. This is a big situation, but tell me what you think about this. Tell me what you think about this story, about what happened, about how the hospital and the doctors alike all conspired to cover this up, how they would not let them see their baby, how they made the baby only be seen through a window, and then they sent the baby off to the funeral home knowing that I mean, how did they think this was going to work out? That the funeral home wasn't going to say anything like this? I just don't get it. Tell me what you guys think about this. We are definitely going to watch this case and continue to cover it. But I definitely want to know your feelings about it. And guys, I'll see you in the next one.